Munzi ulimo wotu, lotu yandana. You may take your seats, please. Please do take your seats. Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge the media for your gallant services all the time. Fellow mourners, we gather here today to pay tribute to Honorable Ackson Sejani, celebrate his life. A lot has been said already by those who have spoken before me, some through songs, Bible readings, but I want to offer great appreciation to Brigadier General Dr. Henry Matifeo for the wonderful message, the homily that you have given. Thank you, General. You're a true soldier. Honorable Sejani has been described, can be described in many ways. It depends on the angle you choose to take in describing him. But whichever angle you come from, you will end up with one conclusion. Very strong individual, very purposeful, with lots of clarity in what he says, and more importantly, those of us who interacted with him in those environments, how he said it, what he says, how he says it, and what he does in line with what he says and how he says it. I'm sure the gathering is paying attention to the selection of words being used here. His consistency, even against adversity, huge adversity, many would break down and walk away. Sejani wouldn't. One day, we had a by-election in Livingstone, and 67 of us got arrested, that we caused the death of one person, and that 67 of us killed this one person. We were put in separate cells. He was put in my block next to my cell. The late Montanga was taken to the airport, Livingstone Airport Detention Center. And when we were allowed to have a bit of time to talk to each other, he would say, "My President, loosely interpreted, he would say to me, Mr. President, these guys are now holding us by the tails. But, our tails are strong. We shall be okay." And he would encourage others. It happened that that individual was killed somewhere else, and then dumped, the body was dumped at our campaign center. Some of us were initially charged for murder, but it turned out that it is not practically possible for 68 people to kill one person. Very difficult. I was in a live radio station, Musotunya Radio. That's what caused my charge to be changed later. Because at that material time, I was having a live radio program. And as God would guide his children, the moderator decided to extend the program because of so many callers were calling. And so, checking the time, Sejani was with me in the studio, passing notes to me as questions came. How is it that he and I would have participated in killing somebody when we were in a live radio station? So in the cells he said, Mr. President, this is only a small issue. It's to break us down. We shall be okay. We shall be okay. So we cancelled other people, some were distraught. The rest is history. This is how Sejani would react to a difficult situation. Anyhow, Sejani dedicated his life to the service of this nation. You heard from his life history. As a young NRDC graduate, joined government straight after school. Literally worked for the public sector throughout his working life. That's dedication, service to this country. Sejani contributed in many ways to the development of this country. We just pick a few issues to put context to what I'm saying. This country was a one-party state for many years. And I see the faces in here. Many were young. They have no understanding what a one-party state meant or means. Maybe that's why the young generation must read a little bit so we can protect this democracy that we have. We had an election in 1988. The next election should have been 1993. I hope my figures are correct. I see Dr. Peter Machungwa there. I think my narration is correct. The next election, 5 years after, should have been 1993. But the people of Zambia decided that they were tired of a one-party state, where largely freedoms were taken away from them. At our time in university, as undergraduates, students, you never talk to your roommate, two of you. Those days, university rooms were occupied by 2 students. I never spoke to my roommate about politics because I wasn't sure whether he was what we called them as SBs. Because in 2 people, one of them possibly is an informer in a one-party state. So you never talk to your colleague in the roommate. Maybe after 2-3 years, then you gather courage to talk to your roommate about your freedoms. So a number of young men and women after 1998 election decided that enough was enough. And Sejani was one of us. As you heard from the life's history, he was still just a young professional. Only married in 1989. And 1990, Sejani left basically what you may call public office and joined politics together with people like Dr. Machungwa then, who I think was senior to him in age, I would suspect, and a number of others took a risk. General Matefeo, timing. Clock. That was your message. Sejani understood that the call was made for the nation, for for a courageous group to deliver the country away from one-party state into a multi-party state. That movement led to calling of an early election, 1991, 2 years ahead. And as you heard, he got elected as Member of Parliament for Mapatisia in 1991. First time he entered Parliament. Then he moved on. I see Vijay is there. He too had resigned from government area, but came back to engage in the struggle. And many others. Seated in this room, I see Honorable William Harrington there. I see you, sir. We need to thank this group of people for the work that they did. Sometimes we forget where we are coming from. And the freedoms we enjoy, we take them for granted. So, Sejani stayed in Parliament up to 2001. And there's a message I would like to deliver here. At that point, as a cabinet minister, together with many of his colleagues, decided that after the constitutional amendment of 1991 to allow for multipartism and the term limit where the president will only serve 2 5-year term maximum. The president then decided to amend the constitution to go for a 3rd term. And Ackson Sejani, together with others who were in cabinet, including sitting vice president, General Tembo, former vice president, General Mianda, Sejani, so many in cabinet, I think there were 20 or thereabouts, decided to break away from the desire of one person to amend the constitution. Actually, left MMD. I followed the life history very carefully when it was being read. He followed, left MMD to fight for the maintenance of the 1-term limit and therefore democracy, consequentially freedoms for the young people. Many parties were formed, FDD, Heritage Party. I think he stood in Mapatisia under FDD. And then UPND had just come on the scene, and UPND won the Mapatisia seat under a lady called Grace Rumba. That's a factual check there. Factual check. The point I'm making is that Honorable Sejani decided to read the times, to act accordingly for the greater good of the country. Very important message. Let me just also do a fact check here. In 1991, under the MMD, Sejani and many others across the country campaigned to take the unique government out of government through elections. And where Sejani worked from, the southern province, delivered 90% of all the votes that was cast went to President Chiruba. 1991. Young Zambians, those of you who like talking divisive stuff, ethnicity, hear the message. The southern province, together with western, together with northwestern, together with Copperbelt, together with others, delivered 90%, I'm talking of southern, for President Chiruba. 1996, that province, together with others, but specifically that one, delivered another 90% to President Chiluba. One Zambia? I want to hear you. One Zambia? So when I say one nation, answer one people. One Zambia? One nation? So it was, so it is, so it shall be. We are one Zambia, one nation, one people. That's what Sejani stood for. Because he was a strong individual, people described him in many ways, including incorrect ways. I think it's important to do a fact check on some of these things. Zambians will move together when they want to move together. And when they pick, that time is right, the clock is ticking, Zambians will do what is good for the citizens of the country, in all the 10 provinces of the country. Very important. So, very quickly, Honorable Sejani left Parliament 2001. In March 2005, Honorable Grace Lumumba, UPND MP in Mapatizia, passed on before the next general election. And Honorable Sejani read the Times, read the mood of the country, understood it quickly, and came through to stand in a by-election in Mapatizia. Very difficult election. He won and returned to Parliament. 2006, we had another general election. He contested Mapatizia under UPND again, won that seat. For the young people, hear me out. In 2011, Honorable Sejani came to me and said, Mr. President, I have been elected 4 times in Mapatizia. It's time to change, to bring another son of Mapatizia or daughter. I have had my time. Reading the Times. Came to me as president of the party. So he and I strategized, who would we put? We agreed on one individual, still alive, Clive Miaga, for 2011. Sejani graciously, without what many MPs will kill and pull a gun on somebody for adoption, Sejani said, I am stepping down, Mr. President. Let someone else carry Mapatizia on. Reading, understanding the situation. Clive Mianda, who is still alive today, was one individual who contested from 2005 in the by-election, in fact 2001, 2005, 2006, but never left the UPND. Even when Sejani got adopted twice and Clive was a candidate, Clive would be the first one to contribute to the campaign for Mapatizia for Sejani to win. Another message for some people in this country. Others would have been shouting in the streets, calling HH names. But Clive said, no, bigger picture. So when Sejani decided to step aside, he and I were short-circuiting each other, which we did quite a lot, to see where the other one stood and what the other one felt, to test whether we had homogeneity in the way we thought through something. So I asked him first, I said, do you have a name to replace you? He said, yes. So he asked me, Mr. President, do you have a name? I said, yes. So we agreed, the two of us, to write on a piece of paper. So we don't tell each other. We write on a piece of paper and submit a piece of paper, each in a small box. So he wrote it through his paper in there. I put 3 pieces of paper. I broke the rules. So I put 3 pieces of paper. So then he says, oh, so who reads it? I said, you, Sejani, you read. So he opens, says, from me, Clive Mianga. He said, Mr. President, you put 3 pieces of papers. I said, I apologize, Sejani. So just read. I said, the first candidate, he said, is Clive Mianga. Second one, Clive Mianga. Third one, Clive Mianga. So we said, we shook hands. We aligned. Because of Clive's way of behaving. Some lessons there. The rest is his history. Clive won. In 2021, Clive says, Mr. President, I too am not standing like Sejani. Let's find someone else. That's how Nasha went to stay in the in Mapatiji. I've told a story to help some people through Sejani's way of doing things, to help some people. Bigger picture, all the time. Nation, people of Zambia, all the time. We serve the people of Zambia, our own interests will be taken care of. That's the message. In every role we are performing, we seated here, reflect whether we are able to do those things. Sejani, you heard already, I will not repeat, was a perfectionist. I will not repeat. But Sejani also knew when to go and tell the president something being whispered, but nobody had the courage to tell the president. Sejani was able to read the mood and come to my house, Mr. President, these MPs of yours want to go to the Constitutional Review Commission, even though they know that it will not succeed. But they have another reason they want to go there. I won't tell you the reason. But after conversation, I called the press briefing the following day and said, you PND MPs, you are allowed to go for the Constitutional Review Commission. And we calculated that if we stop them, we will have defections, because a number of them wanted personal gain. I'm sorry to say it. But I said to them, you will not get a constitution you want, because this thing is not done properly. And for sure, the rest is history. But we kept the party going. As Tom Silwindi said, very difficult time we went through. But all the time, focusing on the good of the nation and how to build an institution, read the situation so you don't break an organization. But keep your eyes on the ball. Retreat a little bit, keep your eyes on the ball, you'll be okay. Another lesson there. Let's emulate Sejani and the likes of him. And there are many. Let's take this country where it should be. It should have been 30 years ago. We're capable, working together, each one bringing the value they have, God gave them. Talent, endowment, God gave them to the table for the greater good of the country. And the country will move mountains. The people will be better. Children will sit on desks. Sejani and I told him about CDF, and I said to him, CDF, when we form government, will be $1 million equivalent. He said, President, no money to avoid, that's my skill set. You have your skill, that's my skill. And we shook hands. Today, CDF is 36.1 million kwacha per constituent per year, from 1.6 million kwacha per constituent per year. Long-term vision. That's Sejani for you. And once he caught it, he campaigned on it like it was his own initiative, with language more clearer than mine. Partnership. Another message. Today, citizens access their own money at the lowest level. Shared vision. Let's remember Sejani. I know the wife is grieving, children still young, but if you remember your husband, you remember your dad, in the manner, in the things they stood for, you will have comfort. He lives in you. He lives in many other people. I want those who know the song to join me. Love at home. Love at home. Love in the Sejani family. When we have love at home, each home, there will be love in the nation. When there's love in the nation, will be less fractious. Less fractious situation, time for development, time for unity, time to make someone's life better. And we are all capable of doing that. Stanza.